And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. So do me a favor, hit subscribe, watch, comment, keep those comments coming. I'm loving them. And share with your friends. It'll help to grow the community literally exponentially. And why do we need to do that? Because the stupidity in DC is boundless. Look, just this morning alone, Trump announced a new deal with the UK. And while that's good, and I really mean it, that's good, and I tried to remain hopeful, the global tariffs are still affecting us. I mean, yesterday, Fed Chair Jerome Powell, he announced that he believes that the high tariffs will result in high inflation and high unemployment. Play the clip.
If the large increases in tariffs that have been announced are sustained, they're likely to generate a rise in inflation, a slowdown in economic growth, and an increase in unemployment. The effects on inflation could be short-lived, reflecting a one-time shift in the price level. It is also possible that the inflationary effects could instead be more persistent. Avoiding that outcome will depend on the size of the tariff effects, on how long it takes for them to pass through fully into prices, and ultimately on keeping longer-term inflation expectations well anchored.
Well, you can only imagine Trump wasn't too thrilled with Jerome Powell's statement. And so in retaliation, because everything has to be retaliated for, Trump posts this on Truth Social. In it, he turns around and he says, "Too late, Jerome Powell is a fool who doesn't have a clue. Other than that, I like him very much. Oil and energy way down, almost all costs, groceries and eggs down, virtually no inflation, tariff money pouring into the US. The exact opposite of too late. Enjoy." Let me be very clear about something. Jerome Powell is no fool. Just take a look at who he is, where he was, what he used to do. Jerome Powell is truly an economist. Meanwhile, Goldman Sachs, no fools there, also believes that inflation is going to rise. In it, Goldman Sachs warns key inflation gauge could hit nearly 4% by Christmas. That's no joke. President Donald Trump's global trade war will likely undo much of the progress in the war on inflation, Goldman Sachs warns. The Wall Street Bank told clients in a Wednesday report that a key inflation measure is expected to surge in the coming months because of a toxic combination of sky-high tariffs and the weakening U.S. dollar. Goldman Sachs now sees annual core inflation, excluding food and energy, accelerating from 2.6% in March to 3.8% in December. That's based on the personal consumption expenditures, it's called the PCE price index, the Federal Reserve's go-to inflation gauge. Now, let me be very clear about something. Kevin Hassett, the director of the National Economic Council, he was on Fox News talking to Laura Ingraham about Jerome Powell, literally debating if he is politically motivated, as Trump says. Play the clip.
For heart of hearts, do you believe that Jay Powell is acting more politically than economically in his
I won't comment directly on Jay Powell, but I do know that there's a committee at the Fed right now that's been appointed mostly by Biden people, and they have a worldview that's inconsistent with the facts of the previous term. Don't forget, when we had the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that created the explosion in wages, the reduction in income inequality, the massive explosion in jobs, all the time the Fed said this is going to be inflationary, and it wasn't.
Kevin, I have to.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, nonsense. Nonsense, you smiling fool. Absolutely inaccurate. Meanwhile, Hassett goes on and he claims that the Fed's models must be off. Play that clip.
Well, first, we respect the independence of the Fed, but I don't always agree with Chairman Jay Powell on policy. And I still, as I've said before in the last few weeks after the president talked about the Fed again, that I'm dismayed that they've got bad economic modeling of what might happen to tariffs. They said, if you look at the Wall Street folks, they're saying that the tariffs are going to crater the economy. Meanwhile, we got really strong jobs and we don't have the inflation that they said was going to happen. And so to have the Fed out there jawboning against the president's policies. They didn't do that when Joe Biden was printing money and spending it and creating 20% inflation. And so it just makes me wonder about what's wrong with their models or what's wrong with their politics.
It's not the politics, nor is it the models. It's your concept and your understanding. Let me be very clear about something. First of all, under President Biden, it wasn't 20% inflation. Okay. Second of all, the job numbers that came in were better than expected. They didn't meet the top numbers. They were just better than expected. Meanwhile, Hassett also tries to claim that shelves aren't empty. Play that clip.
Well, the scaremongering is happening now, but I can tell you that I get real-time data every day on whether there are shortages, and I can report that there are still plenty of things on the shelves. There were a couple of weeks where shipping from China was lower, but now shipping from a lot of other countries is going way, way up. So people don't have to be worried about what the scaremongers are saying. These policies are onshoring jobs, onshoring production. You can see it in the jobs data. You can see it in the explosion in manufacturing jobs already, even before the tariffs came in. The way to think about it for me, Laura, is that President Trump did something last time, looked and saw that it really worked, and now he's doing more of it a little bit bigger. But that's what you should do. You should do something, see if it works or not, and then change. And that's what he's doing. He's ramping up the ante because he saw that it worked in the past.
Okay, so let me be very clear about something. Number one, in 2017, it didn't work. That's the whole thing that doesn't make any sense. You're right. If something works, look, let me say this. I'm not the president of the United States. Donald Trump won the election. And so, yes, he has the right, absolute right, as every president does, to put forth his policies. But that doesn't make his policy right simply because he's the president of the United States. And believe something, 2017, his tariff nonsense, it did not go over well. It caused massive, massive problems. And what ended up really taking our economy to the toilet was COVID, which he bungled as well. But let me say this, Kevin. You are absolutely 100% ill-informed. And I don't know where you're getting your data from or who's modeling it out, because the commissioner of the Port of Seattle went on television. He was on CNN himself talking about how their ports are empty, meaning shelves are empty. Play the clip.
Of America. So it's great to have you here tonight, sir. The tariffs so far, I wonder for you directly, what is the impact that you're seeing? How could you sum up how much your job has changed because of the policies coming out of the White House tonight?
Thanks for having me, Caitlin. I can see it right over my shoulder here. I'm looking out at the Port of Seattle right now, and we currently have no container ships at berth. And that happens every once in a while in normal times, but it is pretty rare. And so to see it tonight is, I think, a stark reminder that the impacts of the tariffs have real implications. It means that we don't have longshore workers on the dock right now unloading merchandise. We don't have trains taking that merchandise to inland ports and all the way across the country to places like Des Moines, Iowa, and Chicago, Illinois. And that's hundreds of jobs right here in our region and across the country.
You have none at your port right now?
We currently do not have any container ships at port right now. That's correct.
And that's because just nothing is being shipped over? I mean, that's pretty remarkable.
Well, it is. It's pretty unusual. We do anticipate, I was looking at our schedule, we anticipate about 25 vessel calls between here and the port of Tacoma over the next 7 days. And keep in mind, we're not just importing from Asia.
Yeah, that is rare. We're talking about the Port of Seattle. Now, in previous episodes, you've heard me talk about something, and it's a concept I want you to remember, the circular flow of economic activity. This is exactly what I was talking about. It's not as if all of a sudden there's no additional funds that are made simply because the tariffs in China or Vietnam or whoever else Trump is having this ridiculous trade with the whole world. It affects America. The number of people that touch the product from the time that it leaves its port of origin to the time it ends up on the shelves, by the time that the consumer takes it home, it's like 20 different hands, sometimes more, touch it. Meaning, look at all these dock workers who now have no work simply because there are no vessels there within which to unload. But talk about nonsense. Talk about Senator Josh Hawley. You all remember Josh Hawley. The guy goes on, he tries to blame Biden for all of these issues. It's always going to be Biden if there is an error. Play the clip.
Hilarious is that Joe Biden and Buttigieg and all the rest, they now act like they have no idea how the country got into this state. I mean, my gosh, inflation's really high. Gee, how did that happen? I don't know. Maybe it's because Joe Biden shut down American energy production, spent $3-4 trillion on Green New Deal giveaways.
Yeah. Again, pure and total lies. It's unbelievable that they just lie with impunity to the American people. I mean, does this man forget the fact that he is a sitting member of Congress and that you actually have an obligation to tell the truth? I know, Josh, you got to kiss Donald's ass. Believe me, I know it. I know it better than you do. I sat next to the man watching people like you for a decade and a half. For a decade and a half, I watched people like you come crawling to him to kiss his ass. So we all know at least I know what you're doing, and it's my job to inform everybody else. Now, look, finally, I want to end on a clip of Representative Ogles talking about moving trade from China to India and then South America. I mean, I thought the jobs were ultimately supposed to come to the United States. Play that clip.
And so to go down there to strengthen those relationships, and then also just to say thank you. And look, as we look to decouple from China, we've got to look to South America, to Central America, to India for other trading partners and manufacturing capabilities. So I think there's a world of opportunity ahead of us, and that's why we're going to go down and have those conversations.
Well, I mean,
again, let me be very clear, my friends. There's only one way to stop this nonsense. And that is for us to build this community so big that our voices cannot be ignored. If not, we're going to end up listening to this horse shit, not just for the next 2 years, meaning the midterm elections, but for many, many, many years to come. That's why I ask you again, don't just subscribe, don't just watch, don't just comment, share with your friends and family. And as always, thanks for listening.
Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.